all we have for you guys today, of course. We also have a new water cooler intro, or sorry, new water cooler, and we also have an intro for that. So, Doodle, do the dandy. What If is the latest Marvel Studios small screen project to arrive on Disney Plus after much fanfare. The animated anthology show aims to explore alternate timelines in the MCU multiverse in order to fully grasp the basic premise of What If. As a whole, it helps to have watched Marvel's Loki, especially with the whole variants and different branching timelines and things like that, which really kind of introduced the whole multiverse idea into the MCU. In episode 1 of What If, we get what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger, and focus mainly on a World War II era of Peggy Carter, who made an alternate choice that affected the creation of Captain America in a major way. So first off, let's talk about this episode. What did you guys think of episode 1 and Captain Carter? Jake, let's start with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was a really fun episode. It was really like, it kind of set that tone for what if, like what if something happened to Steve Rogers? What if, and someone else had to jump into the tank and kind of like, take that mantle of Captain America. And I thought Peggy Carter filled in really, I wouldn't mind more Captain Carter, just like, I think whenever we were talking in the meeting about it, I was like, I think the giant Amazonian Captain Carter, like, picking people up and throwing them around, like, awakened a lot of stuff in a lot of men. But no, I thought it was a great episode. I know it's some critics, especially over at other channels similar to ours, but much larger, like your IGNs and everything like that, kind of gave it like 6s and 7s. But like, honestly, I mean, I thought it was a solid 7.5, 8, overall for an episode. It was fun. It was a good introduction to the multiverse,
Yeah. Captain Dimitrescu. Little Nelly in chat. I think it was an interesting story. I do like a lot of the aspects of it. So one of the things that I struggled with this whole story, and Brahman, I want to hear your thoughts on it, is Steve Rogers, right? Steve Rogers coming in there and his whole role in there. Spoiler alert, we got a spoiler warning on this already. He comes in there with like kind of like a rudimentary Iron Man kind of thing. But yeah. I don't know about y'all. I don't remember Iron Man in the first Avenger. I don't remember Steve Rogers needing an Iron Man to help him save the day.
I know.
Does this kind of take away from Captain Carter? What do you think, Bron?
Yeah, I think that was totally unnecessary. Like, just leave him aside. He's not in this anymore. Right. Like, he's not Captain America. So like, why is he going on these missions? And I thought that this brought up a lot of interesting questions and didn't maybe really deal with them, because one thing that interests me at first was her conversation with that commander who was like, oh, like you're a woman and therefore you can't be this hero, you can't be this super soldier. So I kind of wish that it dealt more with like how she overcame that, or how she like herself was able to still be her Captain Carter. But overall, like, I did think it was pretty cute. I liked the like Union Jack on her uniform. Like, that was pretty sweet. Yeah. I like how she like used her shield to, I guess, protect them from a blasting train, but it really, like, how would that have worked? I don't really know. Yeah, it was a cool episode.
I definitely want to encourage more projects like this with Marvel, where they're challenging the concepts of storyline and they're really playing around with the concepts that they've already built. I think that those things are really, really great when you get those to work. But there are some parts of the story that I do think are a little bit problematic, and I think we're a little bit sloppy storytelling. The Captain America one is one part. Even the way that Captain Carter was dressed, like, she didn't have anything on her face or anything else like that. And the whole reason that Steve Rogers did was for protection, right? It wasn't for like a disguise or anything else. So protection-wise, shouldn't Captain Carter need that kind of thing? Some of those things to me were sloppy, and it kind of looks like it was made from an eye of trying to make her look pretty, try to make her look.
And we couldn't have seen, like good makeup and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And her hairstyle.
Yeah, her hair was fucking fabulous the whole time. Like, if I were
And
her,
Steve,
I wouldn't want to wear a head thing. I'd be like, you're gonna fuck up my hair. Do you see this mane? Ever since getting into that machine, my hair's been fucking awesome.
yeah, I think that this and Steve ended up making the ultimate sacrifice too. I do think takes away a little bit from Captain America as a character. You know, the whole point, a big point of Captain America was his big sacrifice at the end of World War II, that he died a hero kind of thing. And you know, that aspect is always a Steve Rogers thing. I don't know. That was a little bit. Some of the things in this story were a little bit weird. I do love the fact that we got to go in and play around with Captain America's origin story, and I would love to see another shot at it. I love the fucking Lovecraft monster that pops out with Red Skull, like all that shit. Very, very fucking cool. But
that was cool. I did. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like I didn't even really think of it like that. Like I looked at it like I couldn't really remember the first Captain America though. Like so when he freezes, does he freeze with the Tesseract?
No, he does not.
Who gets the Tesseract? Do they have it the whole time and they just didn't make an Iron Man costume or something?
The Tesseract falls into the ocean.
Oh, okay. See, that was, I guess that was the difference is that like, you know, the fucking Howard Stark, he's got the Tesseract. He's able to have this infinite power source. So I guess he was commanded to make a machine that could, you know, continue to fight him because I guess they thought Captain Carter couldn't, you know. I don't know. She saved his ass, you know, a few times. And so
and also the whole point of that was because she was a better soldier than Steve Rogers was. And
the reason why she kind of picked it up, she picked it up like Jin in fucking Star Wars. Like she just automatically started kicking ass. And I remember thinking, oh, so that's what would happen. No, that's what would happen if someone who was actually trained became a super soldier. Like Steve Rogers is kind of a fucking joke. And then he got in that machine and like, you know, got buffed up and everything. Like, you know, Captain Carter was able to kick ass day one. And I was like, that made sense, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But in What If Episode 2, the Ravengers mistakenly kidnapped T'Challa from Earth instead of Peter Quill. This change has vast repercussions. First, T'Challa changes the Ravengers' ways, turning the crime syndicate into a group that spreads goodwill throughout the galaxy. Additionally, Thanos gives up his genocidal plans of eliminating half the life, realizing that there are other ways to allocate resources. What did you guys think of Episode 2 and T'Challa as Star-Lord? Brahman.
I had trouble paying attention during this episode. I just this guy's not my favorite show, but it just kind of seemed like they're just like putting different characters into these different roles. Like I kind of almost wish that instead of like taking T'Challa and just putting him in that role, they would have just maybe because it didn't seem that much different, as if it was like our Peter Quill. Like it didn't seem that different. It seemed like something Peter Quill would do. It didn't really capture me in the sense of like, this is somebody with entirely different experiences, creating a different story. It was just like, okay, it's just him. I don't know if you felt that at all.
What did you think?
Me? No, I thought it was the exact opposite. Like because of T'Challa being Star-Lord instead of Peter Quill, we've got Thanos actually gave up on genocide. And it showed so much other things that like obviously T'Challa would have made a better Star-Lord. It was kind of like rubbing it in your face that like Peter Quill was kind of a fuck up. You know, that like that obviously like if somebody capable, you know, like T'Challa got captured by a group of Ravengers and then changed their ways, became their leader and everything, what kind of good could they do in the universe? And it was like a fuck ton, right? Like obviously we didn't have the Guardians anymore, but even Drax's homeworld was saved. You know, like there was a lot of like little kind of nods to like look at how much better of a character T'Challa is than like Peter Quill. And so like
went over my head.
To me, it was kind of like a fuck you to Peter Quill. It made like him look like a
Thanos kept going, not genocide. It's not genocide. It wasn't genocide.
And like the other part about it is it also showed that Yondu was always like he's still a good person, but he was still always gonna try to trick them. Like regardless of whether or not he's good, he was still going to try to fool whoever he picked up from Earth into being a part of his crew and being a part of his family.
Yeah.
However he saw that, and I think that was a very interesting thing that still kept consistent throughout the universes. So I think that the collector was a little bit odd, in my opinion. A buff collector did not make sense to me. I don't know. I understand how that change reverberates, but what was your favorite change in this universe, Brahman? I know you did. You had a rough time. Did you have any favorite changes in this universe?
I don't know.
No, you don't know.
No, I just, I guess it's just because I didn't. Maybe I need to watch Guardians. I think I just need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy again.
Yeah, that may be what it is. Guardians was one of my favorite ones. So this episode was really interesting to me because I liked Guardians more than like even say Captain America and some of those movies.
Yeah. What
I wish they had more like one thing I did really like about Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like was the soundtrack, and that didn't have anything like whole like
true.
Bringing me into it like that, and I felt like that
was interesting about this episode.
Yeah. What did you think about it, Jake? You obviously have some feelings.
No, I mean, I thought it was a great
favorite change.
My favorite change was probably I like the fact that Drax's homeworld was saved and that he was like a happy Drax and everything like that. I also enjoyed the the kind of like I think what did Savage say, the dad Thanos, like he was very kind of like, look, it wasn't genocide. I had a really good plan, but T'Challa set me down, talked me it out, and I decided his plan was better. And so like now you've got like the Mad Titan, like, running around being a hero, which has happened in the comics too. So like it's really interesting to kind of have even seen that play out. And I think that Thanos was such a likable villain in a way for a lot of people that they could actually see him being a good guy. Because like I think he was on one of our most misunderstood villains or villains who were kind of right. He was actually on our list last week, and so. But no, I thought it was overall it was a really good episode, and I think T'Challa's Star-Lord is a very interesting multiverse spinoff.
Yeah, for sure. So overall about What If right now, I love the Uatu factor that they have there as Uatu kind of like introducing the whole series and such like that. Brahman, I'm guessing you're not too hooked on the series so far, but what's everyone's feelings on the whole series as a whole right now? Brahman?
So I think that I'm not a huge fan. Like one thing that kind of pulls me out of it is like the animation is very like CG animated. It doesn't really feel that like that there's a lot of like care put into it. It feels just a little bit like rushed through each frame, and so I feel like that was kind of making me have like a hard time like watching it and paying attention.
Yeah.
I think that I do like these little like twists, and that I like how it like makes me think about what all the different ways that the world can go. I want to see them kind of like play with those a little bit more, and maybe I like the openness of how many different stories that there can be. So maybe if they have an episode about something that kind of captures me a little bit more, that I have a deeper history in watching, then I get a little bit more excited. So maybe it's one of those shows where I kind of pick and choose which episodes I watch.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's pretty cool that the Marvel universe is so established and that there is such like a like rhetoric in society of people following these and people having like so much knowledge about the comics and about their content that they're able to do this, because this is a show that would be like impossible to have without a previous understanding. And the fact that we are at that place, I think is pretty cool. That like now a lot of people know about the MCU, so let's play with it, and that's pretty awesome.
I agree 100%. I think in concept it's doing really well so far. Jake, what are your final thoughts on What If so far?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed both of the episodes. I mean, they were both pretty good. Like I said, I would give them both like probably around a 7 or an 8. They're not like the best thing I've ever seen. The animation's interesting. I definitely think that I could see some people having a problem with it. I like weird or different types of animation, so it doesn't really bother me too much. But I can definitely see why it's a turnoff, because it just sometimes that type of animation just takes a little getting used to. But it's overall pretty good show. I mean, I've liked it so far. I'm excited for some of the
Chadwick Boswell's last work.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a nice little tip of the hat at the end there, kind of to make us all hit us in the feels.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'm excited to see just kind of what else they can do and what if.
I'm excited for its potential. I think the T'Challa story was a little bit better in my opinion than the Captain Carter story, because the Captain Carter story, like at first I was like, oh, that was great, but then like unlike like opposite of Suicide Squad, right? Lingered on it a little bit longer and be like, that kind of feel on there. And so I'm hoping that we can really see some really interesting stuff in the future with it. I mean, you've got the Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, I think, is one of the ones in there. So all kinds of cool, crazy scenarios. I'm excited to see what kind of potential is, and it is cool that the Marvel Universe is, as Brahman said, is established enough that we can play around in it with stuff like this. Yeah. I think that's really a lot of fun.
100%.
But anyways, that'll wrap it up for the first half of the show. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going into this week's deep dive on free-to-play games, and then we're giving you the top 10 support characters this week in our top Zen. So stick around. A lot more show coming to you in 5. Remember that this show is brought to you by Swift Lifestyles, our sponsor. You can use code GetGeeked at swiftlifestyles.com for 15% off of your purchase. You can get all kinds of cool stuff. Look, I got some some promos in here. I got the Reaction. This is the Energize this is the G Fuel, Gamer Fuel kind of stuff. It works really well. It's got a lot of taurine, but only a minimal amount of caffeine. And then this is what I've been drinking a lot, and this is what I'm actually drinking now. It's the Hydrate Cotton Candy. As I've talked about plenty of times before, I am ADHD and I take a lot of Vyvanse, and one of the big symptoms that I have is I get dehydrated, and like this completely has been eliminating my dry mouth completely. Yeah,
nice.
It's really, really, really does that. It really makes it feel at least feel like I'm hydrated. So I've also been trying their daily boost vitamins. We'll see how that goes. But
I heard those make your innie and outie. Is that true?
The daily boost vitamins. Yeah, that's what you do. If you take 4 or 5 of them at once, that can be a symptom. Yeah, if you're not if you're trying to do that, that's one thing you can sell it for. Actually, that's not something. Just internet. But anyways, big shout out to our moderator, Littlest Nelly, taking care of things in chat, and thank you guys for hanging around in chat. Savage Patch Kid, we've got Caper Doodle and Nibs. Nibs, thank you so much for the raid, coming in with what was it? A party of 6. Pickley, thank you guys so much for hanging out and
thanks for coming and partying, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. And if you haven't checked out Nibs Play Games, you definitely should go check him out. A very good VGC friend of mine, local ATX friendly. He also runs ATX VGC, who hosts their own Monday night friendlies where you can go and play on stream against VGC players all across Austin, Texas. So a lot of cool stuff. Anyways, that's all my shout outs I got.